I'm gonna wait a couple minutes as students start filing in, and I'm gonna do this in three chunks. I'm gonna go over the general updates that applies to all students, regardless if you're in my class or not. And then I'm going to go over how this applies to my Regents chemistry classes, because your grading, your grade book and how you're assessed and all that stuff is different from my AP classes. And then I'll open the floor to questions. So I'm going to give it like a few minutes, let students start coming in. Yes, I will make a video. I will just upload this stream to my YouTube channel. Hold off your questions until the end. So, Regent students, even though I'm going to speak to you, you're second on the agenda. Let me go over the AP policy and how that applies to them first. Then text me questions on Remind. All right, so let's wait a minute. Let kids get in here. General, Regents, AP. So people starting to join us. Wait a few minutes. I'll get started shortly. I'm going to do general first. So what was the update? What do we know? Regents, how this applies to you. AP, how this applies to you. And obviously bullet points 2 and 3 are like my Regents chemistry classes and my AP chemistry classes. Hello, hello. We'll get started in a minute. Let's wait for some more students to get in here, and then I'll get going. Again, questions, hold off till the end. Let me get through everything. General, again, will be just about what was the update? How does it apply to everyone? And then for Regents and AP, that's specifically for me and my students. So if I had you last year and you're tuning in, or if you're tuning in from another class because your friend sent you this link, or whatever, 2 and 3 just apply to Mr. G's students in his Regents classes and AP classes. So don't go back to your AP teacher and say, oh, this is what Mr. Geronda said. Nope, that just applies to me. But I'm going to give it 30 more seconds, then I'm going to get started. And I'll spill all the beans that I know, and just wait until the very end to ask any questions. You can text me on Remind, and then that's it. So let me check all these messages I just got, and then I will start talking. All right, so um, our department heads met with administration today. Administration sent out an email to all you guys updating you what the new grading policy is. Generally, what is happening? So, third quarter, so Q3 is ending on March 13th, which already happened. So, March 13th was that Friday before we officially got the call about school being postponed until April 20th. So any grades in through March 13th, which was also the 7-week mark, so pretty close to the end of the quarter, are quarter 3 done. Quarter 4 is where we are putting all the assignments you've been doing from home. So my students last night, I updated all your grades as basically complete or incomplete. Did you get a 1 or a 0? Did you do it? And did you do it satisfactorily, or did you not do it at all? Now we are all on the same page. Every teacher in the building has been instructed to take any assignment that has been performed at home. So basically any assignment starting on the 16th or the 17th, whenever the official first day was, put that on quarter 4. So quarter 4, you're going to have a bunch of assignments and you're going to get a C or an M. A C means you completed it, and M means it's missing. Now, I can text you and say hey, it looks like to me you just rushed through the videos and put C for every answer. Can you go back and redo it? That is perfectly up to me to do. That is totally fine. So I would say a C means you completed it with effort and you tried, and M means you've totally missed it entirely, or you completed and rushed through it without really actually doing it. So I can use my discretion there. But generally speaking, third quarter officially ended March 13th. Teachers have to submit grades by April 8th, which is next Wednesday, by midnight. Hold off right there. Obviously, the first questions you're going to have are, how do I make up tests? How do I retake tests? How do I make up labs? How do I do things that are impossible for me to do at home? You cannot take tests at home, and you cannot make up labs at home. Making up a lab at home is unsafe, and making up a test at home is unfair to all the students that took it in class, because obviously we can't force your parents to proctor you. We can't force you to be on a video monitor and I watch you to make sure you're not cheating. So before we have a little freak out about tests and labs and all that stuff, when we get back to school, which I know I've had some questions about that, still April 20th. I know the president had recommendations. He said something about April 30th. As of today at 2:44 p.m., it's still April 20th, so we're planning on going back to school then. You will have 2 weeks. So what will happen is, while we as teachers need to submit quarter 3 grades by next Wednesday at midnight, when we get back to school, they will reopen that grading period and give you all 2 weeks to make up, retake, do whatever you need to do to bring up your quarter 3 grade. Now, again, that's kind of unique to each teacher's grading policies, etc. But for me, obviously, if you need to make up a test, make up a quiz, Regents kids, you can retake tests, you can retake quizzes, or you missed a lab. So that is pretty much the general grading update. Quarter 3 is officially ended March 13th, which was that Friday before we got dismissed for all this coronavirus stuff. Quarter 4 officially started with this remote learning. All the grades for quarter 4 at the moment are just complete or missing. So for me, I went through all that work last night, putting all those assignments on quarter 3, and I put a 1 or a 0. As of this morning, based on, again, last night, so I did that at 6 o'clock last night. So if you've done anything between 6 o'clock last night and right now, it's not updated. But they've all moved to quarter 4 on School Tool, and I've changed all those 0s and 1s to C's or M's. if I feel like you are not trying on assignments that you've technically completed. So I look, it took you a minute to watch the video, you put C for every answer, you're getting like 30s every time, I'm going to shoot you a message and we'll talk about it. But in terms of general stuff for all teachers, any of this stuff we've done at home is quarter 4. March 16th, 17th is when that started. It's a C or an M until we hear otherwise. So anything we've done up to today is complete or missing. When you get back to school, which again is scheduled to be April 20th, you are going to be given a 2-week period to make up assignments that you could not complete at home. And I'll go over that more with AP because that really applies to you. So that includes tests, quizzes, labs, etc. Stuff that is impossible for me to monitor at home. Stuff that we cannot just ask your parents to proctor. Stuff you just can't do at home. All right, so that's the general stuff. Regents students. So if you're in my Regents chemistry class, this is like the easiest update for you. 90% of your grade is tests and quizzes. So 90% of your grade we cannot touch at home. That Thursday and Friday before this all started, we took a quest. Those that were there, I'm going to put in your grades over the next 2 days. Those that were not there, it will be missing. And you need to make that up when we return from this break, when we return to school. Labs, I'm going to update those based on everything I have. Put those in School Tool. And if they're missing, that means either you still have it on your persons, so you might need to check, and I'll leave an assignment up on Canvas for you to submit labs, or you missed the lab. You can't make it up from home. You have that 2-week period to make it up when we get back. Castle Learnings, you're probably going to be fine. I'll double check those, but to eliminate confusion during this off time, I unassigned a lot of Castle Learnings I originally assigned, because students were getting confused because I would have like a Castle Learning called Solutions Quest. Then I had a Castle Learning called Solutions Review. So to eliminate confusion, I just unassigned the Castle Learnings and just assigned the new ones. So Castle Learning stuff, I wouldn't even worry about. So my Regents Chem students, unless you are holding onto a lab that you forgot to turn in, you pretty much have nothing to worry about right now with quarter 3. You might be upset about where your grade is currently. Just know there's a system in place when we return to give you that 2-week period to make up and retake any quiz or test you missed. So if there's a 0 or there's a missing on quarter 3 that you're worried about, there's pretty much nothing I can do for you at home because, again, we cannot make up labs. We cannot make up tests. The best we can hope for is a lab that's missing. Maybe you still have somewhere and you can submit it to me digitally. That 2-week period, obviously I'm there often after school. We'll obviously figure something out, maybe build some time into class for you guys to make up those quizzes and tests, because I know staying after school can be difficult. And that's basically it for the Regents students. AP students, you're in a bit of a different boat because you get a lot of work to do at home, and that work is typically either labs and test corrections. So, all of you, as far as I know, have made up and done all the tests we've had this quarter. I am going to, this quarter being quarter 3, I need to double check today if I'm holding on to anyone who made up a test that like Thursday or Friday and get that out to you digitally somehow so you can do your test corrections. But if you're wondering what you can do at home right now, find some old labs, find those test corrections. I will get something ready to go on Canvas either tonight or tomorrow for you to upload any work that you owe. Someone asked a question about the buffers lab. Let me take a peek about when we did that. And if students ended up like missing it, we might push that to quarter 4. I might not worry about it because they took buffers off the AP test anyway. I haven't made a decision about the buffers lab. But everything leading up to whatever was right before that, I think the acids and bases test, I'm going to go check AP Classroom to make sure there's nothing missing from there that I need to put in. But if you have corrections to do or labs to do, grades are due next Wednesday by midnight. And then we have that 2-week grace period when we get back. If I were you as an AP student, I would not rely on this grace period. I highly doubt I'm going to build time for you in class. We are going to be going straight into review. I would try to get this stuff done now. Okay? That's about it. I don't think I missed anything. So, Region students, you pretty much have nothing to worry about for me. AP students, corrections and labs, work on those now. Get those in by next Wednesday because you are all getting a grade for quarter 3. And that grade will be about all the work leading up to and on March 13th. So, you're getting a grade for quarter 3. It's based on all the work we've done through March 13th. That's like 80% of the quarter, so it's fair. They are giving you time to make stuff up when you get back, but that's, again, really designated for doing things that you just cannot do at home. So AP students, do your test corrections, turn in your labs. I will get something up on Canvas for you to do so. All classes, quarter 4 started March 16th, 17th, and everything up to today through the end of the week is going to be a complete or missing. That's all I know. Questions, text me on Remind. Questions, questions, questions. Questions going once. I'm gonna be patient before I stop the stream because I know Remind gets a little slow around this time of the day. It logs me out a lot, but so I'll be patient. Questions going twice. So yeah, Region students, I would just prepare like tomorrow. We'll have another like review video and probably a Castle Learning and continue with this like extended review. AP, I might give you some time to like, I would say for AP first, if you know you've been working on corrections and labs, like you know you have them and you know who you are, work on those now. Other students that were like 90% done, you're not quite sure what's missing. You're going to have to give me some time today to update all my quarter 3 grades. And then we'll go from there. I'll make a decision about the buffers lab today. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. I think we've done a lot of buffers work, so I'm leaning towards just not worrying about it. But all the other labs we should be responsible for. I'll double check AP Classroom, make sure I got everyone that all the grades that need to be in there are good. But if you're missing labs or test corrections, you should have it. You should have the test correction. You should have the lab. You should be working on it. Again, quarter 3 will close next Wednesday, April 8th by midnight. So I have to get my grades in by then. But when we get back to school on April 20th, they will reopen the gradebook again to like work on those stuff that we cannot work on at home. But aside from that, considering I have not gotten any questions, I'm going to end the stream and wish you all a great day.